everyone and welcome to another video. Today is the last day of the month, so of course I'm bringing to you my reading wrap-up of March. If you have been on this channel for a while, you would know my wrap-ups are my favourite videos to film because I get to go over all the books I read in the month and talk about why I'm obsessed with them. So, let's go! Starting off this month, I'll talk about my Read with Ben book, and for those who don't know, Read with Ben is a read-along I host on Instagram, #ReadWithBen, and we pick a book or a series to read throughout the month, and we read it together and talk about it, and it's so much fun. And this month I read the Storm Siren series by Mary Webber. That consists of Storm Siren, Siren's Fury, and Siren's Song. Now, I read this series with you guys, and I absolutely love it. I reread the first two books, Storm Siren and Storm Fury, and it was just as amazing as the first time. And then I was so refreshed to finish off Siren's Song, and let me tell you, the end of this series was perfect. The last line of the book was so funny, yet so heartwarming and just wonderful. This series follows a girl who is the last of her kind. She is an elemental. She has stark white hair, and she has always been used as a bit of a slave, but she's taken into nobility and is in this fantasy world where there's this threat, this wolf man, this shapeshifter who is threatening to overtake all the kingdoms. And it's kind of up to Nim to kind of save the world in a way. So yes, I loved this series. It's such a fantastic read and I highly recommend it. I will be leaving all the Goodreads pages for these books down below for you to check out. I read a middle grade book which was Grim House by Karen McQuestion, which was a really fun read. 4.5 stars, about this girl who has this talent, and basically her parents go away on a cruise and she's being babysat, but then these like two aunts come knocking saying that her parents have like died and lost at sea and that she has to go and live with them, but she's never seen them before. But it turns out that they are witches and they live in the Grim House and they basically absorb children's talents and passions, and it's up to this girl to kind of stop them, and I thought it was so much fun. I highly recommend this. Perfect for a reading slump. I read a book this month by Kiefer Duncan, and this is called Keeper of Knowledge, and I've talked about this in so many videos, and I honestly loved the absolute life out of this book. It's about a boy who turns out that he is the Keeper of Knowledge. He has these powers and he lives in this modern day world but is now surrounded by witches, vampires, werewolves, shapeshifters, mermaids, all these different creatures, and it was such a fantastic start to a series. I highly loved it, and it was just so much fun. And the author is super young and he wrote this book and he has done an incredible job from the design to the interior to the story. I loved it. So Keeper of Knowledge, and the main character in this book is so hot. Oh my god, he's so hot. This month I read Reign of Shadows by Sophie Jordan. This is about a kingdom that is set in darkness, in this kind of world where darkness is ruling the world, and I absolutely loved it because the main character is super strong. She's blind, she has to like survive. It's a bit like The Wizard of Oz, as in these dark dwellers, which are kind of like monkey people things that swing from the trees and like come and attack you and eat you. So they're like zombie monkeys, and I absolutely love this story, and I gave this a 3.5 stars. So I did have some issues with it, and I think about the pacing and things like that, and the character and the story was so quite simple, but it's really good in that aspect too. So Reign of Shadows. I read a book this month which I highly enjoyed, and it was called School of Death by Christopher Menino. Now, I originally saw this book on Sasha Alsberg's channel a while ago, and I was like, right, I've got to check this out. And it's basically, if Hogwarts was filled with Grim Reapers, that is literally the best way to describe this story. I absolutely loved this read, and it was such a fantastic story. The writing, the style, everything. It's such a brilliant start to the series. Christopher Menino is a really wonderful author, and this series is just perfect for fans of the Harry Potter series because you have this girl who's really ill and she lives in the modern day world, and she's like very skinny and nobody knows why. She's kind of got this unknown illness, and this Grim Reaper comes along and takes her and is like, you're coming with me. But it turns out she is a death, and she has to go to this school and survive a year and pass the exams to be able to go back into the normal world. On the way, she meets these friends, and she is the only female, and the last female was this evil witch that everyone hates, so she's kind of like, nobody really likes her, and she meets a couple of really nice people. But there's also elementals, dragons, and all these things in this book. It's so good. I read a book this month as well called After Image by J. Koalis, and this book was so enjoyable. We have this character who has visions of the future, and she's being kept in this like imprisonment, and it's basically this other group of kids who also are basically going to save her, and it's kind of in a world where there's like some superpowers and it's a bit X-Men-y, but it's like The Darkest Minds but really gritty. So I highly recommend After Image. It's such a fantastic read, and I flew through it, and I can't wait for the second book. I've got it and send her, and I need to read it like now. I read Shift by Karina Espinosa, and I've been raving about this book as well. It's about a girl set in like the Bronx, and she is a werewolf shapeshifter. She shapeshifts into a werewolf and she doesn't really like it. She finally falls into this pack of werewolves who find her, and she basically has to join a pack, otherwise she can get killed because nobody likes lone wolves. But she kind of gets immersed into the middle of this supernatural mystery in New York and in the Bronx, and it was so enjoyable, and I really need to read the second book, Caged. This book is perfect for fans of those who like shapeshifters and magic elements, but set in a modern day. It's like an urban fantasy, and one of the best urban fantasies I've read. The main character is so funny, she's so sassy and hilarious. I was laughing throughout this book. She is just have the best one-liners. My new favourite, like, futuristic book ever is Justice Buried by Hilary Thompson. Oh my god. I'm going to be reading the sequels next month, and I'm so excited. This is set in a futuristic world after this great sickness has ravaged the earth, and these people have gone underground into a secret society called Aspodal, where they live to survive. And they basically live off the belief of star signs, and they're matched with people due to star signs and depending on their preference in the world. And basically this main character girl just doesn't believe anything that's going on, and she stumbles across a guy who is actually from the outside. She finds him in this cave where she meditates, and that flips her world upside down. So it's almost like an escape story, and I really loved it. It was so good, and the romance was so steamy, and I'm getting magical elements from this. I don't know if something's going to happen with fire, but something is brewing, and I cannot wait for the second book. Oh my god. And last but not least, I read Lady Midnight. I'm not going to talk too much about this because everybody has read it, but just know that this book was one of the best books in the Cassandra Clare universe. I actually think it's my favourite book, so I'm definitely going to be reading the rest of the series because Lady Midnight was amazing. So there you have it. There is my wrap up. Definitely go and check out the books down below on the links to the Goodreads. And apart from that, I will see you all again in another video. Let me know down in the comments what you've been reading, and I'll see you soon.